This is Yvonne Eskenzi.
Hi.
And I'm Neil Stinchcombe, if you don't know who we are. So what's PR about? Well, from our perspective, it's about creating a brand, building that brand, creating awareness. So when your sales guys are out and they go to see a client in the B2B sector, they've heard of who you are, it opens the doors. And secondly, it's about generating leads and increasing sales.
I actually think this is probably one of the most important things that our clients expect us to do these days. They kind of expect us to get the PR, as much PR as we possibly can, and they're actually measuring it, seeing how much we're getting, how many hits to their website, and in fact, how many more sales have we actually generated for them. And that's not what happened when we first started kind of 16 years ago in this business. It certainly wasn't about a measurement game, but I think as everyone's explained, it's kind of more and more and more that. So we've got to get the leads and we've got to conquer everybody. And I think actually being here today in this exhibition and looking outside at 350 exhibitors, and I've walked around today and seen all those blue colours, and it's a hard game to try and make you sort of rise above everybody else out there. You know, how do you become the tallest tree in the forest? And I think that's one of the things that you have to kind of get your PR agency to do. And one of the things I put down here was, no one else will ever blow your own trumpet. That's what my mother has always said to me, blow your own trumpet, because no one else is going to do it for you, and it's so true. Get out there and do it. To use every facility out there to blow your own trumpet and become the biggest, the loudest, the most interesting, and the most engaging company out there. This is my favourite slide. I just want to do this slide. This is how I kind of see. It's again, looking at everybody out there today, walking around, someone's sitting, what do you think, Yvonne? A journalist sitting, what do you think is the most interesting and exciting thing that's actually come out of infosecurity this year? And I looked around, and I do this every year. I've been doing this show for 16 years, and Neil's been doing it for, 10 years?
Yeah.
So we've been promoting this show a very long time, and it's grown, but it's kind of still, I think of everybody in these little brown boxes, and I then think of our job as trying to make you attractive and interesting. And I always think of Susan Boyle, and I think to myself, that's how she started, and this is how apparently she's finished. So that's how we have to kind of portray you, which is why PR is so important.
So there's kind of two areas in PR these days. There's traditional PR, which is print, media, TV, radio, and there's what we call social PR, which is new media, so Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and the blogosphere. So as an agency, you have to make sure that you address both those markets in the content you provide. And it's in these days, as Steve said earlier on, it's very much about the content you create and having the right messaging and getting across your client's message to a journalist in an appropriate way that's going to actually engage with their readers. So we're always thinking not about just what the client wants, but what the readers want. By putting those two together, then we get good PR coverage for our clients.
And I think these are the tools that we are a prolific PR agency. Our clients, they come in, they'll vouch for this hopefully afterwards, they come in and we sit down every month and we decide what are the golden tools you need in order to actually get as much coverage. And I think running through them, we always have a whole pipeline of articles, good articles, whether you write them yourselves or whether you get them ghostwritten by journalists. That's the way to get articles. You have to look 3 months ahead and think, what else have I actually got? Could I actually translate it? Could I actually use it so it could actually be used across globally? Could I use it in the States and in Germany, in France and in the UK? And that's how I think that's the best way to actually use your money, is getting all your articles translated and sent out universally and work globally. Product reviews. Neil's actually very good at doing product reviews, much better than I am. But and so's all of the other teams. Product reviews are a must, because for some reason everybody wants to see that kind of well, not for some reason, it's pretty obvious, the 5 stars that you actually get in SC magazine or wherever it may be in network computing. It's a very important thing to actually make sure you're rolling this out.
And even the FT runs, we can get product reviews in the FT occasionally, so that's quite good.
Surveys. One of the things that we sit down, and probably most of my clients will actually get a survey 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And and again, obviously for infosecurity, every year we'll come out with interesting surveys, because there's so much boring stuff out there. You've somehow got to think, again, what if your friends, when you go to a dinner party and you say, I work in IT security, they kind of go, oh my God, that's so boring. And I kind of go, it's not that boring. On the front page of the Daily Mail last week, the Epsilon break-in, the Epsilon breach, that was Mothercare, that was Marks and Spencer's, that was Lacoste. That was actually something that, it's now become so mainstream.
And we had WikiLeaks last year as well, which was front page news.
And our clients obviously we immediately get out there and make sure that our clients are out there. But surveys are universal. They're something that people can actually grasp hold of and how many laptops have left in the back of taxis. That's an interesting survey. And just going out there talking to the mainstream people out there on the street and getting lots of interesting information from there. So surveys are important, press releases, that's obvious, press interviews, very obvious, as Steve said. Awards, you need to be awarded something. You want to be seen to be winning stuff out there. And so you have to do the whole load of awards, 5, 6, 7 a year, and eventually it works. And obviously if you pay them a bit of money, it works even better. Analyst relations, as Nigel says, that's something we have to do. We do it. So you have to kind of keep it rolling throughout the whole year, and rapid responses. So we work with Steve on a daily basis and on an hourly basis, 24 hours a day almost, watching what's actually breaking out there. And I think this is the key. I think this is absolutely the most important thing, and I think probably one of the reasons why we succeed as a PR agency is our relationship of looking with Steve, looking at the news as it breaks, wherever it may be, in Australia, in the States, and actually then immediately writing a story and getting that story then approved by the client and actually sending it out within literally hours.
And having a good relationship with the journalists that they actually approach you. So we get, I had a call from Reuters this morning, can I help them with the story, or the FT or whatever. So it's having those relationships where they come to you rather than you having to go out to them all the time, which helps a lot. You can do this one.
Again, this is how I kind of see, this is how we work in PR. We have the sniper approach and we have the scattergun approach. And the sniper approach is this very, very focused bit. This is kind of looking at the vertical press, or looking at whatever campaign you're doing. If you're spending a whole lot of marketing in the healthcare sector, you then want to get a whole load of really focused articles, obviously in the healthcare sector too.
Or we'll be targeting a particular news program like BBC Click or with CNBC or whatever. So we'll target them with this particular story. So we'll build up a story and it takes time to do that. So that's a sniper approach. And the scattergun is those lovely surveys that you send out to the whole world and their dog, and then it's a lovely feeling. And as my clients will know, they'll all kind of vouch for it. It's like a snowball effect. You get a brilliant story out there and you suddenly watch it grow because it was, and that's our scattergun approach. And I kind of say here, don't bore people and don't bore us and don't think your product's the best product in the world, because to everybody else it isn't. Trust me, you have to make it interesting. And I think most of these guys out there like to do things like this because I've spoken to them enough. And they're kind of exciting. They're actually they may look boring, but they're actually exciting guys at the end of the day. And want to be excited and enthused. Right, Sob? Right, the 5 golden rules. Over to you, Neil. So the top one I always think is creativity, imagination, and ideas, because that's what's going to generate your coverage. So we like to brainstorm ideas. So work with your PR team, work with everyone in the company that's got good ideas. Talk to the guys that talk to the customers. See what the customers are saying. That's critical. If you don't understand what your customers are saying, if you work with the channel, you've got to get as close to your customers as possible, because quite often they say, I don't know what my customers are, I don't know who they are, I don't know what they're saying, because they're not that close to them, because they were going through the channel. And I think most people now are pretty much 85, 95, 100% channel. So you've got to be really close to the people they work with and get close to their customers, understand what their issues are, and feed that back to the PR guys, because then that's what they can push out to the press, and that's what the press are interested in. After all, they're all potential customers, the readers of those publications. Neil may think that's the most important thing. He's absolutely right, because it's tied in with content. Rich, fabulous content is the key to everything we do. And if I had to start, that's my most golden rule. That content, it's the be all. To me, it's the be all and the end all. Isn't it the be all and the end all? End all. Thank you, Neil. We're a team, double that. Energy, enthusiasm. Sell it. You've got to be good. You've got to be able to get on that phone and sell a story. That's important. Knowledge and power. I think you said that to me the other day, didn't you, Steve? I think you said that on the phone to me. It's the actual knowledge of understanding what you're selling means you can actually pick up the phone. You've got the confidence. All we are is salespeople. You give us the tools, we package it nicely, and then we sell it on to all these lovely journalists. And chemistry. Chemistry is so important. You know, if the chemistry is not there, then PR is dull. So you've got to have a good chemistry
between yourselves and the client and, of course, the press. You can spark off with them, talk to them, take them out for drinks, just brainstorm, have lunch, think about what we could all work together to actually achieve at the end of the day to get great PR. That's what I think of the 5 golden rules.
And what not to do. Long sign-offs. So if you've got a client that takes a long, long time and you've got a long process of signing things off, by the time you've got that thing signed off, the news has moved on. It's dead. So it's very important to keep on the edge of things and get things a very quick sign-off process. And that keeps everything very energetic and vibrant as well. So if someone in your support department sees an interesting story and they flag it up to you, jump on it and react to it.
Never oversell to journalists. I say I'm a saleswoman, but I know when to stop. And to the analysts, I don't bore you, do I, Nigel, when I pick up the phone?
No.
And Steve, I don't phone you on the press day, do I? I kind of
press day.
Even
It comes straight through.
boring and samey. Got to make sure you don't do that. Write press releases no one will understand. I get, and Phil, this has nothing to do with you, I'm about to say the Americans. I get these press releases that are so technical, I don't understand them. And I sit there and I think, how the hell are all the journalists out there going to understand it? And I think we're better at doing it here in the UK than you guys do in the States. But I think trying to write, to me, everything is in the headline. Everything. And when I send those emails out, we only do about 9 words, and then we do a paragraph that sums the whole story up, and that I think is the key. Not understand the journalists or analysts. I think you both said that. Don't phone them up if you don't know what the hell you're talking about, or similarly, you're selling the story to the wrong journalist because he doesn't actually write about IT security. That's so embarrassing. It's never ever happened to me though. So I said, and I think that may be it.
I think that's it. Yeah. So
there we go.
So we've got a few of our customers.